Good morning and welcome to Gulfstream today on a beautiful Friday here in Hollandale Beach. You see it there. The weather is picture perfect, and this is the, believe it or not, penultimate week of racing before the championship meet. Brian Natta with you. Happy to have you aboard. Strong three-day race week kicking off here. We've got this week, next week, and then Thanksgiving Day, November the 28th. We're going to kick off the championship meet, kind of a new little wrinkle. Really look forward to that. And if there we go, thank you guys, I appreciate that. And boys upstairs are the best, and you can see that. Oh, okay, this is breaking news to even me. 11:15 now is a post time on the championship, the lid lifter, November 28th, Thanksgiving Day. We'll get in, we'll get out, we'll have some turkey, have some football afterwards, but we're going to have a really strong card of racing. And that kicks it off, and we can't wait. And to be perfectly honest with you, we've mentioned this last week, and if you've kind of been following along, if you've been looking at the past performances of this week as well, I'll tell you what, the races do have that kind of feel to them, especially the maiden races for the 2-year-olds. We've got one today. We've got 2 tomorrow for the colts that I am quite positive the connections of those horses are really looking forward to big things and hoping those horses progress to, the Curlin Florida Derby in the perfect world. But it's an exciting weekend of racing. The Rainbow Six as well now on a 9-race Friday card. The Rainbow Six in race number 4, $175, 175 in the Rainbow. I think I cheated it when I sent it over to the guys, so I appreciate that. 175, that carryover is already over $100,000. If you've been following the long, pools have been very, very well received, and I would expect today would be no different. We're on a fast main track. We've got the Tapeta in play, taking a couple weeks off of the turf racing to gear up for the championship meet. We were on the turf last week, and that was great because we were supposed to take a little hiatus there. So we'll have a couple weeks off gearing up for that championship meet on Thanksgiving Day. But let's take a look at now the early pick 5 today as well, and that pool was approaching a couple $100,000 over the weekend. I've got a $20 ticket. We go a couple deep in the opener, which we'll get to. Race number 2, a single of the 5. She's Spiteful. The spread is in race 3, and it is the 3 on top. Breeze Through Time for Liz Dobles. Race 4 is my best bet of the day. Quizler, back with some friends today for Mary Leitner and Edgard Zayas, and my long shot. So we got the best bet long shot double here in race number 5. That is the 4, the Thrill of Victory, on a $20 early pick 4 ticket. So let's kick off this card here, and I'll be with you solo for today. Let's kick off this card in the opener, and I'm going to go to the 4, Fortune Dreams for Laura Cesares. Kind of Barnes been overdue to get going a little bit here, but you got that second start out of the way last time and added Lasix that day as well, and you can see it in the form. A really, really marked improvement for this daughter of a Florida Derby winner, always dreaming, and a Kentucky Derby winner for that matter, and the form seems to be progressing. Third lifetime start, often the best, and I think this is a bit of a scratcher here in the opener. We do have the 7 out Iron Shield, so that takes some oomph out of it. Going to have a huge favorite in the 9 Commencement. Jose D'Angelo, Paco Lopez, and Paco's been back for a bit now, but in case you haven't got the memo, they're just going to fire on him hard, and he's going to typically put horses in the right spots, one of the strongest finishing riders, and I think Commencement, clearly the race goes through her. I don't really know if she's got a win or not. She's dropping from a quarter in for 12.5, second off a little bit of a freshening. Jose D'Angelo, this is such a strong barn, and I think Commencement will take all the beating in here, but at a better price, I'll go to the 4, Fortune Dreams. Let's show a replay of the 2, Vanishing Wish, in the 3, His Choice. They ran 2-3 last time. Vanishing Wish is out the back, and this is at 5.5 furlongs, and that's a problematic running style, but she did break slow that day, okay? So she doesn't necessarily need to be back there. She ran on very, very nicely. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. You're going to see her flying for second at a big number, and she basically passed everybody she could. She couldn't get to the winner, Awesome Empress. That was a really strong run. Hopefully today a better post position, and hopefully she breaks with the field, but at 0 for 9 and still not a lot of early speed regardless. Maybe just play against her a little bit, at least on top. Race number 2 kicks off the early pick 4. We're 7 furlongs. Again, a fast main track today. Scratch the 1. Just take notes. Samantha's off this weekend, but she's working from home and updating things, so we'll take a look at her early pick 4 ticket right now, and that's a $9 play. She's actually going to single Crystal Coast in here, and then 3 by 2 by 3 for her $9 ticket. I'll get to Crystal Coast in a second, but I thought the race clearly went through She's Spiteful. And as I mentioned, we're on the main track here at 7 furlongs. Well, the last time and the only time in quite some time that She's Spiteful's been on the main track, and that was the first time and only time since Gary Jackson claimed her 3 starts ago. She ran off the screen by 5 lengths against $8,000 claimers. In for the bottom at $62.50 today. Back on the main track, the Tapeta didn't work last time behind Amari Control, who will actually be in on Sunday, or maybe tomorrow, excuse me. But She's Spiteful, I think, from a perfect outside attack post, is front and center in here. The 7 is Barbara, and this is a price underneath, so I'm going to go with what I expect to be at least the morning line favorite on top. Barbara actually ran pretty well on the main track, and it's her only main track race showing in quite some time. She was a close 5th that day. She was in for 8 as well. You could argue that group, with the exception of She's Spiteful, might be a little better than the one she's facing today. I'm not telling you she can win at 5 for 51 lifetime. It's probably unlikely she can, but at a price underneath, let's try to split up what could be a very chalky exacta, because that's Crystal Coast for the 4-horse, or Bobby DeBona is going to try the main track, and it's been a while since she has, and Bobby hasn't run her on the main track. And this is kind of Samantha's angle. I can see why she's singling her, because Samantha, she always likes to, take the fresh new face in races like these, and then back to the main track. Crystal Coast has been routing on the turf in Tapeta of late, and she's kind of been middling a little bit. And she took a step back last time at 6-1. Cabaret, that was, Cabaret came back to win, so we've got to maybe upgrade that race a little bit. But Crystal Coast, another one that just never wins, and Bobby, who's as good as there is off the claim, he's got nothing out of her at all, and I just kind of sort of wonder if he's throwing something at the wall here and hoping it sticks with Crystal Coast, because she couldn't get it done on Tapeta. She couldn't get it done on turf either. Here she is now sprinting on the main track. Let's go to race number 3, $170 on the Tapeta. $35,000 maiden claimers. A 2-year-old fillies will go at it here. We'll scratch the 6. La Cyber, the first-time starter, is out of here. I thought this was clearly the most competitive race, if not on the card, in the early pick 5 sequence, to be sure. I initially was going 6 deep. I had La Cyber as my last horse. She's out. We'll go to the 3 on top. Breeze Through Time, and this is Liz Doble's, and the barn's gotten a little traction of late. That's good to see. The form here is progressing. We're going to drop out of a 35 maiden claimer on the turf, and I know this is the same price on Tapeta. Turf races, I think we can all agree on, are much, much better than the Tapeta races, the maiden claimers. Breeze Through Time, she was kind of a so-so 5th on debut on the Tapeta, beaten 11 lengths, but it's tough to route. You hear us talk about it time and time again. It's tough to route on debut. It's a big ask for any horse. You see the race was pretty live. The 3rd-place finisher, Nashville Slew, came back to win. The homebred for Roger Lauren came back to win that turf race. Now Breeze Through Time's got some foundation. Amicio says, yep, I'll ride again. I like that as well, and I think now 3rd start again. I mentioned it in race 1. I'll mention it again here in race 3. 3rd start of the career, 3rd start of the form cycle, might signal an all-time best for Breeze Through Time. Right next door is the 4, See You in My Dreams. She's going to get loose in here. I don't think there's any question about that. Edwin Gonzalez off 2 sprints and a Tapeta dueling, tiring 5th last time. He's going to put her on the lead, barring something unforeseen. And she's going to be in control as far as she can take them. How far, that remains to be seen, because she's been tiring pretty badly in her 2 starts, but she did show some more signs of life moving to the Tapeta on the drop in her 2nd lifetime start last time. I think she's a very, very dangerous commodity for Carlos David on the stretch out, and this is, as we all know, as potent a barn as we have here. Let's take a look at Party Queen, the invader now from Kentucky Downs. Trainer switched to Jeff Engler. If you're not familiar with Jeff, he's a pretty solid Midwest kind of outfit, Churchill and that kind of thing. He's going to take over from Mike Maker. This horse is 23-1 in a maiden special weight at Kentucky Downs, and we know how difficult and how deep and competitive those races are at Kentucky Downs. But you're going to see this run here now, and she's going to give it up here shortly. But that's not really the point. The point is that she was dueling early, and we know how demanding this turf course is out at in the fields there at Kentucky Downs. She dueled for about 4 furlongs and backed it up, but don't lose sight of the fact that she had to work very hard early. Ramsey Pond, we know her from Safi and Ken Ramsey. She won that race. I think Party Queen is interesting and dangerous here. I think she's an absolute a must-use if you're playing a kind of a sweeping early pick 5, and it looks like this is the race to do so. Let's just quickly talk about the 2 Cam's Princess, because we have a trainer stat here for Antonio Sano, and I want to take a look at that now. Antonio got going a little bit the other day. This is not the most flattering stat. 3 for 41, 7% sprint to route, maiden claiming on Tapeta. Samantha dug that up. This is a horse that hasn't really taken any money by Caracaro out of a purge mare. So, 2 turns is kind of in there a little bit. Antonio, though, this is the thing about this. Although the stat is not that flattering, like I said, he got going on Sunday. Sooner than later, we knew this was a barn that was long overdue to string some wins together. He did it on Sunday, and when Antonio gets going, it can get going for a couple, 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. Take note of that now. You're going to get a big number on Cam's Princess. It's a wide open race. I don't have her anywhere, but again, this is a barn that could be getting hot now, and you could do worse than throwing a big number in this race in your early pick 5. So we've got 3 down on a 9-race Friday card here at Gulfstream Park. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, it's the Rainbow 6. 175 is in your estimated jackpot, and Ronnie's got an updated ticket to take a look at. Stay tuned.
And they're off.
New DRF All Access Past Performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all 3 past performance formats. Easily switch between views. Access the most trusted information in horse racing with DRF All Access Past Performances. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
And welcome back to Gulfstream today. Brian Nadeau with you here on a beautiful Friday afternoon, kicking off another strong 3-day race week. We've got 9 of them for you today. And as I mentioned before we went to the break, now the Rainbow 6, which kicks off here in race number 4, $175,000 in your estimated jackpot. Ronnie's off today, but he's got an updated ticket that we'll take a look at now. And this is the standard 4320 for Ron. He couldn't find a single, and I think that kind of speaks to the depth and the competition of this sequence. He'll go 3 deep in the opener. Race number 5, that's actually my long shot, but I've got the 4 in there. He's going to go 1 and 7. I can't wait to talk to you and with you about the 6th race. This is the maiden special weight, the 2-year-old fillies, and we've got the colts tomorrow. This looks like an absolute doozy, and I hinted at it and I mentioned it at the start. This is, I know technically we are not in the championship meet right now. This is a championship meet, maiden special weight for 2-year-olds, point blank. And I can't wait to see it go down and talk a little bit about it. And then to fill out this card, I mean, these are tough races. Safi's got in race 7, the 2R Disaster at a very short number, but Ronnie's going to use 3 of them. I like it because I'm thinking the same. Race number 8, big scratch. I don't know why, but there were 3 scratches in race 8, including the one Cardinal. That's the biggest scratch on the card. He's got the 8 Havaladar on top, and that, or he's got the 8, I should say. I'm not sure about on top, and that horse will probably be a short number now. 2 deep in the finale, the 5 Cacique Abario, and the 7 Cadron Settlement, who will be a big player in there. 43-20 for Ronnie. Let's get into it now. And it's going to kick off. I've got, I'm going to play this sequence today because I love when I have the ability to start a horizontal sequence, especially like the Rainbow or maybe the pick 5, if I can start it with a single. And I think I can do it with the 3 Quizler, who's my best bet of the day. Mary Leitner and Edgar Zayas are going to team up here in this $25,000 maiden claimer. These are 2-year-olds at 7 furlongs, fast main track today. And let's bring up the debut of Quizler, because I don't really care what happened last time against State Reds. I think it's pretty obvious. Mary took a shot off the big debut, and I think it's pretty obvious Quizler's not a maiden special weight horse, but he is a maiden 25 horse, and he is the maiden 25 horse in this race, and this was a darn good debut. Cajun Venom's going to loop him here, and he's going to get the job done, but Quizler ran really, really well. He was on the hard chase throughout, while the winner sat back and kind of licked his chops a little bit. Quizler was on the hard chase. He made the first middle move to the lead, and he just got run down a little bit. And Edgard, when Mary's live, she's going to have Edgard Zayas riding, and that's what's going on today with Quizler, and Edgard was aboard for that debut, and it's Quizler to beat and then some today. Best bet for me, and I'm going to single this Rainbow right off the rip. Let's take a look next at the 8, Ruiz Jr. Maybe you get a little value here. This is a horse now that's never sprinted on a fast main track for a tag. Started out in 4 special weight races. Those didn't work out. Routed on the Tapeta. That's the last thing he wants to do. But last time in the mud, on the proper drop for 16, he blows way up with a very, very good second. We got Melvis Gonzalez aboard today. We're going to get a weight break from some of these horses, and we got the perfect outside post as well. He can kind of break running, take a look to the left, and see what's going on. He's got some speed at his disposal as well. I think he's a player underneath. Again, I've got the single, but if you disagree with me or you think the race might be a little deeper than just Quizler on top, you've got something to work with. The 6 is Papa Fernandez for Joe Orsino. He's going to try dirt, he's going to try sprinting, and he's going to try to get something to stick, because this Son of Authentic hasn't really done any running in 2 starts, and we'll see what we get today. Let's talk about the 2 Kathleen O'Connell horses. That's the 1 Sir Thomas Teal in the 4 Cajun's Cookin'. We've got a stat for Kathleen O, who was for a bit now the all-time winningest trainer. Second-time starters in maiden claiming ranks, 10%, a pretty darn weak ROI. These are horses that aren't impossible, but I also think these are horses that have to show a lot more. Cajun's Cookin' would be the one that they were both actually favored at 2-1 and 5-2 on debut. Cajun's Cookin', the 4, ran a heck of a lot better than did Sir Thomas Teal, and now Sir Thomas Teal down on the inside with the rail. I don't think that's going to be ideal either. They're long shots today, and they need to really, really move forward in their second lifetime start. Late pick 5 kicks off in race number 5 here. Let's sprint 5.5 on the Tapeta. These are 3-year-olds or 4 and up, which have never won 3 races. Long shot scratch of the 6 Undelay and the 11 Santos to Wilson as well. As I mentioned, late pick 5. Samantha's got that ticket today. It's updated. Let's take a look at it here. $36 for her, and she's got the 1 and the 7. You can see in race number 6, and she's with me, and she's kind of the one that tipped me off on Rojo Rita. Can't wait to talk about her. Kind of some steam on her, and that's why she's 9-5 on the morning line for Safi, and then she'll spread a little bit in races 7, 8, and 9. And I mentioned already the scratch bug in race 8, but it does open it up a little bit. I know her long shot today is a 2 Shibwe in race 8. Unfortunately for Samantha, the value is long gone with 3 key huge scratches, 2 of them at least. And to Shibwe, will be a fraction of that 15-1 morning line price, but will be still nonetheless a good number. So let's get back now to race number 5. And again, late pick 5 here. This is my long shot in this spot. And this is a Tapeta race, and you know, you get what you get in here. It's tough to figure out form. It's tough to get consistent form. It's tough to consistently figure out who's going to run consistent. The Thrill of Victory is the 4, and admittedly, the cutback might be problematic for this gelded son of Destin, but he is 2 for 2 on the Tapeta. We're going to call him the other Peter Walder, because he's got the 3 competitive Saint in here as well, and he's going to get bet, and he's a big player. But the Thrill of Victory, like I mentioned, is 2 for 2 on the Tapeta. I still think there's plenty of pace in here. I know the Undelay was long shot speed. He's going to come out, but you got the 1 Nichiren, you got the 2 Jupiter Blues, you got Richie's not letting anybody get away, you got Mamba on 3, who I'll talk to about in a second. Mr. Kelly's going as well. There is a whole heck of a lot of speed in here, and I'm not sure 5.5 is going to agree with some of those horses, so I'm going to take a shot at what should be a square price on the 4 the thrill of victory. Now, clearly, Mamba on 3 is the horse to beat. Nobody's arguing that, but there's a few things here that we've got to maybe worry about a little bit. You know, we're coming in off 6 straight losses. Jose D'Angelo, it's pretty obvious and clear now. He had his eye on this horse because what did he do? He claimed this horse at Del Mar. Okay, puts him in jail, brings him back over here. But he claimed him for 32. And now he pops for 12.5, and it just doesn't it kind of rub you the wrong way a little bit. Jose puts him where they belong, so you can maybe take solace in that. He is 8 for 10 on the Tapeta in the exacta, including 4 wins. Paco is here. Those are all big positives. But he's 9-5 on the morning line. There's a good chance he's lower than that by post time, especially with 2 scratches. And I just don't know. His Tapeta races are really strong. He's drawn perfectly. Even though he didn't fire at 7-5 at Del Mar for the Walensky's, he kept his form and his speed. I just got to play against these kind of horses at underlaid odds. Don't sleep on the other. Well, he's not the other Walder. He is the Walder. The 3 competitive Saint has got a big chance in here. He's got good Tapeta form. He was 3rd last time on the Tapeta at this kind of level, 2 back in a very key race. I think he's firmly in the mix. Samantha's got the one Nietzsche in as well. He's inside speed, and he's dropping for Rohan. I can never get Rohan Crichton right. Admittedly, he's going to have to really earn it today if he's going to wire this field from the rail. Late pick 4 in race number 6, and this is a good one. I can't wait to see these gals here. 2-year-old fillies going at it in a maiden special weight, 6 furlongs on a fast main track. Scratch to 6, Chloe. Chloe is out of this race. Let's take a look at my late pick 4, and then we'll get into this race. $12, and like Samantha, I'm going to single Rojo Rita, and then we'll go 3 deep in race 7 with the 2R Disaster on top, but I don't trust her. I'm not singling her. Race number 8, I always had the 8 on top. That is good for me. Havildar on top for me. In race number 9, that's a spread as well. The 9, race number 9, the 2 Jive on top. The transfer now to Delgado, first time gelding. Let's get into race 6. It's a doozy. There's some steam, I think, okay, on the 4, Rojo Rita. We've heard kind of maybe this is Safi's best 2-year-old filly. We might see his best 2-year-old colt tomorrow. Rojo Rita, a daughter of Volatile. They paid $80,000 for her. This dam was 2 for 18. She did win her debut. This is her 8th foal. One of them won on debut. Can do a pretty nice one who earned almost $500,000. Let's take a look now. The works are off the page. And Safi does work them fast, admittedly. Let's take a look at the work on November 1st. This is the Bullet, 59-1. She is doing it solo, but she's going to do it well within herself. She was working in company with a 2-year-old for Safi, a colt that she was literally dragging around the racetrack. He didn't run all that great the other day. I wasn't impressed. I thought he was a fade, and he was a fade, and he didn't run, but she had him over a barrel the entire way. Look at the stranglehold here. She wants to run, and you can see it in her works on paper, and now you can see it front and center on the screen here. This is a very seemingly talented daughter of Volatile. The works say it. Edgard is here. She's 9-5 on the morning line. And the only reason, to be perfectly honest with you, the only reason I didn't make her a lot lower is because the 2 Reputation for Gustavo and my racehorse in JR Ranch. You know they're going to bet her off the board, as they always do with those horses. But these are connections that, ever since Mage kind of popped for these guys, pretty much everything they have touched has really turned to gold, and they have done a phenomenal job, Gustavo and the team and his son and Romero Restrepo as well, of picking out young, talented, athletic horses. And this is a daughter of Bolt Doro. They paid $450 for. The dam was not much at all. She ran 12 times. 12th time was the charm when she broke her maiden. Second foal. The other one is pretty good, though, and this is the other one broke her maiden in her second start. Was second in a couple grade 3s. So there's some pedigree here. I don't want to call it an issue, but she wanted to run long on turf. So we'll see what we get today. You're going to take an underlaid price. You look at that drill on October 12th, and it tells you she can run a little bit. Best of 94 from the gate, and you know darn well they're going to bet her. How about her stablemate, the 1, Luna Luska? Another firster for Gustavo in JR Ranch. The works here are sensational. Now, Miguel Vasquez is going to ride the 2. Joe Trejos is going to ride the 1. I'm not going to get into musical jockeys. I don't know anything about anything with these 2 horses. But, you got Miguel on 1, and you kind of, a lesser percentage jockey on the other. I got to believe it's Reputation today. Luna Luska, the works are phenomenal. The post is a big, big problem. Tab the tote board on her. Anybody else, I'll see, I don't know. They're probably reaches, especially with the 3 horses we talked about. I've talked about Rojo Rita, Reputation, and Luna Luska. They look like real runners, and I can't wait to see them throw it down today. Hey, if you like Todd Pletcher and Mike Rapola, you're going to get a fair price, I would assume, on Preciseness, who hasn't been out since a total chase and no-show at 5-2 at Churchill on early May 2nd. I guess would that be Kentucky Oaks or maybe Derby Day? We'll see. It's Pletcher, it's Joe Bravo, it's Rapola. You're going to probably get a nice number in here, but she's going to have to really, really pick it up. Race 7, State Bred's going 7 furlongs on a fast main track. It's an optional claimer here. We've got a short price on the 2, Our Disaster. I get it. She's run off the screen 2 in a row. She did beat pricey $80,000 claimers at Churchill 2Ls last time. She's back in with Florida Breds for Safi. She's clearly the horse to beat, but she's also the inside speed, and while she will be in front, she's going to have to earn it. And I think horses like the 4 Alice Queen, who I put in 3rd, I think she'll press her early, and that might be a little problematic for Our Disaster. She's going to be a short number, and that's my only point here, and that's why I went 3 deep. The 7 is Star of Saturn. It's an interesting claim by Jose D'Angelo, who also has the 4 Alice Queen. Paco's going to land on Star of Saturn. And you know Star of Saturn around here, okay? Bobby DeBona had her. He did some good things with her. She won 4 races. He's going to claim her. She's had some kind of little issues, okay? Minor ones. Now, he claims her for 20. He's going to run her right back for 20. Let's take a look at a stat for Jose as well. He's 19% off the claim. But here, on the dirt at GP the past 5 years, he's 26%. So he's up in the ante a little bit. The post is going to work here. The flow of this race might work as well, because I think she is going to want 7 furlongs more than anybody, and especially more than Our Disaster. So don't sleep on her. If Jose can get her back going where she was good, and clearly she lost a little bit off her game, her fastball of late, she was this kind of horse. I mean, you can see it to start her career. She was a really, really talented horse for Bobby. I think she's interesting today, Star of Saturn. Late double kicks off in race number 8. We'll go a flat 1-turn mile. These are 3-year-olds and up. It's an optional claimer. Unfortunately, we scratched the 1 Cardinal for Pletcher, the 3 Navy Cross, the 7 Power Humor. Let's take a look at a horse now that I would expect to be a very, very short number, and that is a 3, Havildar. Actually lost to Power Humor, who's out, his stablemate. And I got a feeling now, I don't know why Power Humor was scratched, but just the fact that Havildar is in and Power Humor is out. I liked Havildar a lot this day. He was clearly a short horse. This was Victor off a trainer switch in a May 27th layoff from Rick Dutrow. Havildar, you can see him running on a little bit. You watch that race. He was a short horse that day. Well, now, with that race behind him, the old all systems go angle, he's going to be a really short number in here, unfortunately, because of the scratches. It wouldn't shock me at all if he's odds on or 6-5. The 5 is Morgan Point, who's got it going pretty good, albeit against State Breds for Carlos Perez and a Barrio stable. And, I like those guys. I think they're very, very sharp. They're going to take a shot here now. They're going to bump this horse out of 3 straight State Bred races. Why not? Strike while the iron's hot. They get a huge coup here today with the big scratches, especially the comebacker, Cardinal for Pletcher. He's a very, very dangerous horse. The 6 is Mugatu. He's got talent. He's stakes placed as a 3-year-old. I was actually up there in Maryland, our sister track Laurel, when he ran 3rd in the Maryland Million. How's he going to get up at a flat 1-turn mile? They can't ride a race long enough for Mugatu. And as I mentioned Jeff Angler earlier in the card. It's a solid barn. Very, very sharp barn. You got to run these horses where the races are for them. He scratched out of 2 straight turf races a couple weeks ago. One of them was a stakes. I just don't see a horse with his running style getting up at a 1-turn mile at Gulfstream Park. We know these 1-turn mile races can be very, very sharp. Now, maybe the field sticks together a little bit and they kind of run around around as a group, and that'll keep him in touch a little bit, but I got to play against him at least on top. Race number 9, we'll go 6 furlongs on a fast main track here. $8,000 2 L's for the 3-year-olds and up. Scratch out the 4, and that is 16 Cigarettes is out of this race. I'm on the 2 Jive here, trainer switch from Delgado. It's Brian Cohen of Arundel, and I think Jive now off a bit of a freshening, running as a first-time gelding. We've already seen it a few times with these barns on the Arundel and Brian transfers. They have really moved forward. I know he was avoided claim last time. I get all of it, but I'm going to come back to Jive today and think maybe it's that first-time gelding angle that's going, excuse me, it's going to wake him up a little bit. And if we get his best, and you're very, very allowed to wonder if we're going to get his best, it's capital letters on if. If we do get it, he's a big threat in here. Speaking of Carlos Perez and Barrio Stables, they got the 5 Casica Barrio, going to drop from a 16 2L on the Tapeta. The dirt races, they're not all that flattering, to be perfectly honest with you. He's 0 for 5 on the Gulfstream Park main track, but I think with a group like this on a class drop, and he was facing much, much better on the main track, he's certainly got every chance to get a piece in here. Let's take a look at Cadron Settlement. He's the 7 and the 6 first team. 16 Cigarettes was in here too. He's out. Cadron Settlement, you know, he's fine for Dave Fox and the Leelongs, a homebred. He's fine, and he's been running relatively well in 2 starts against winners, but you kind of can see here he's someone had to be second behind Pascal Moon, who did look good winning the other day, and I know Cadron Settlement was clear that day, but he's going to be bet. He's going to be underlaid. He's got no real edge on anybody on paper, and he's the type of horse, at least for me, I'm going to try to beat underneath. Amazing Woo at a short number was really, really good last time. He's your morning line favorite. I think that's more in part because he's the now horse, and they did bet him last time, and he did run very, very fast. I think he's a use, too. I think if you're playing a rainbow, late 5 and late 4, I think you got to use these 4 horses in here. To me, they're all A's. I couldn't really separate them. I had nothing strong on one and not the others. I'll use all 4 of them. So that's the 9 of them for you today. Again, $1.75 in the rainbow. That kicks off in race number 4. Let's take a look at the lightning round as we do each and every Friday now. We've got only one lightning round for the Sunshine Meet left next Friday, but we'll take a look at the standings here, and I got to tell you what, Edwin Gonzalez is up 6 now, and he is a legitimate threat to dethrone Edgard Zayas, who basically, when Edgard's here, you know, he's going to win the jockey's title. Well, he's been here, and this is a testament to just how good Edwin Gonzalez is riding. Edgard's still well within his reach, and as it is for Miguel and Amicio Jaramillo as well. We've got 6 racing days left of the Sunshine Meet. Switch over to the trainer standings, and that is not close, and that has been decided for quite some time now. Safi's trying to lap the field, but Jose, Carlos Rojan, and Victor Barboza, the kind of, I know they're underneath, but those guys are as strong as there are. Safi's got the numbers, and he's got the horses, and he's doing his thing. Tomorrow we do have a stakes. It's a solid one for the State Breds in the sprint. And La Gioconda, speaking of Gustavo Delgado and the guys and the connections, they debuted this one here, and oh boy, did she look good, albeit in the slop at a short number, and she certainly didn't beat anything, but she did do it the right way at even money, and she is your tepid morning line favorite in the Juvenile Fillies Sprint tomorrow, presumably, and the weather looks great. We hope to see you out here. Presumably it'll be at on dry land tomorrow, and we'll see what she can do in an encore, but that was a very, very strong debut. Taste at the track, you better act fast because these do sell out, and this is going to be next Saturday. The Taste at the Track, martinis, paninis, and linguini. I could get in on some of that. I could get in on all that, right, Dennis? Dennis is not. He's already had that twice today, to be honest with you, so he's going to get in some more on that. But that's a fun day upstairs. You got to get your tickets, though, because it will sell out. My best bet today, I've got the best bet long shot double in race 4 and race 5. Best bet is Quizler, 43. Quizler is the 3. And then we go 54, race 5, the 4, the Thrill of Victory. That is it for me. Darren Gagne subbed in for 2 weeks, did a phenomenal job as he has last year and in the past. We appreciate that. We got our buddy Gabe Pruitt back up for the next 2 weeks, though, as Pete's still on holiday. He'll be back for the championship meet, but Gabe's upstairs. I can tell you, he's firing away. looking all over for everything, and he's with us for the next 2 weeks. We'll send it up there with him. Scratches and changes. We're happy to have you aboard on the 9-pack here Friday at Gulfstream.